Hello and welcome to Capitol Review. I'm Mark Hall. The battle at the border continues on Capitol. Republicans have voted to advance an impeachment on the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Meanwhile, the Senate works on border security negotiations. Joining me now is congressional reporter with The Hill, Mychael Schnell. Mychael, welcome back.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Hey, let's start with House Speaker Mike Johnson. He used his first floor speech to take aim at President Biden on his management of the U.S. Mexico border. What is he really asking of the White House?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We saw this week the first floor speech from Mike Johnson as Speaker since he clinched the Speaker's gavel back in October. Him delivering about 30 minutes of remarks on the House floor, really hammering the Biden administration over the situation at the southern border, making the case that President Biden has powers currently in his hands by the stroke of a pen to make changes, executive authority that could impact the situation at the southern border, that could help address the issues that are happening at the border. Now, the White House has said that it has done all it can do, and it now needs Congress to send over a border security bill to further address the problems at the border. That is something that Republicans don't agree on. So this speech from Speaker Johnson was really him laying out the Republican case that the White House has powers, it has the authority to right now influence what's happening at the southern border.
Mychael, as you're well aware, House Republicans have moved forward with a vote that could impeach Secretary Mayorkas. What's the motivation behind this? Democrats say it's up to Congress to secure the border.
Yeah, so what we saw this week was the House Homeland Security Committee advancing 2 articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. This really a long time coming. Republican lawmakers for months have said that Alejandro Mayorkas needs to be impeached, that he is responsible for the situation at the southern border. We are finally seeing those calls come to term this week with the advancement of those articles. And then House Majority Leader Steve Scalise said that the entire House will vote on those articles next week. So we could potentially see an impeachment of Mayorkas next week. Essentially, Republicans are saying that he should be impeached because the policies of the Biden administration have not helped curb the situation at the southern border, and also accusing him of not participating in the Homeland Security Committee's investigation. So we're seeing Republicans pummel ahead with that next week. It's going to be a real big question mark if Republicans actually have the votes to impeach Mayorkas. Just this week, we saw Ken Buck, Republican from Colorado, saying he is a firm no. As we know very well, the House Republicans have an extremely slim majority in the chamber. They can only afford to lose a handful of votes. Depending on how many people are present, it could be just 2 or 3 votes. So they're going to have to be near perfect and unanimous on this vote if they want to impeach Mayorkas.
And on the Senate, or in the Senate, lawmakers are working on border security negotiations. There's a lot of attention around if anything will pass. And many are saying that former President Donald Trump telling lawmakers to not pass any legislation so he can run on it.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating split screen here, Mark, because on one hand, in the House, you have Republicans barreling towards impeaching Mayorkas, the DHS Secretary. And on the other side of the Capitol, in the Senate, we've been seeing these months-long bipartisan negotiations, which have included the Biden administration and at times Mayorkas in the room to try to come to a consensus on border security. So it's a fascinating split screen on the 2 sides of the Capitol. But essentially where we are with this border security package is on Thursday, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said that text is going to come out of this border security bill by the end of the weekend, and he's eyeing a vote as soon as Wednesday, the first procedural vote to consider this entire national security supplemental. So it'll include this border security bill in addition to aid for Ukraine, aid for Israel, and aid for Indo-Pacific allies. So we can see the first vote potentially next week on this border security supplemental. It's going to be a real question if it has enough votes to pass in the Senate. Of course, there's that 60-vote threshold, and then there's going to be a lot of focus to see if McConnell can get at least half of his conference on board. That'll be a really fascinating indicator. If it does pass the Senate, if it does muster enough support, it's dead on arrival essentially in the House. Speaker Johnson has said that if what has been rumored to be the bill ends up being in the bill, it would be dead on arrival in the House.
Mychael, border security, I don't know in your experience in talking to voters around the country, is border security more important to those who live in border states than maybe some of us that live in the Northeast?
Well, I'll tell you right now, Mark, overall, it's the issue that's most important to voters. There was a poll out just last month in January from, I believe it was a Harvard Harris poll, that found that immigration is now the top issue to voters. There were 35% who named immigration as their key issue, their most important issue heading into the 2024 election. Behind that was inflation at 32%. So overall, from a national standpoint, immigration is now the issue this election cycle. Voters are very concerned about it. It comes after Republicans in Congress, and in addition to some Democrats, have really been sounding the alarm about the situation at the southern border. It's also been a weak spot for President Biden. He hasn't gotten great marks on how he's handled the situation, which is a big reason why. All that being said, why we're seeing such an intense focus on it on Capitol Hill, both with the impeachment of Mayorkas, with Republicans trying to, get some gains with those poll numbers, and then also with this border security package, and Democrats actually being willing to make some concessions in these negotiations because they know that immigration is the key issue, and they know that something has to be done about it.
Mychael Schnell, thank you very much for joining us.